Okay, let's say the year was 1974. Me and a friend were up in the Adirondacks in upstate New York, camping on an island on the far side of the lake, about midway. And we were on a fishing expedition. So we had a canoe, and we were fishing all day, caught some good-sized bass. But all of a sudden, we realized it was kind of late, as it was getting dark, to travel all the way back to the island. So we looked for a place to pull over, found a nice sandy peninsula, and we started doing the usual routine, setting up camp, and we had brought some potatoes and onions with us. And they would make a nice fish dinner. While preparing the food, and also we started hearing these whistling sounds going through the air, like someone throwing, I don't know, bottle rockets or something through the air, like a whistling sound and a thud as it hits the ground. But we're looking around, and there's no rocks or missiles or anything on the ground. Like there was no logical reason for the noises we were hearing. Then we're hearing kerplunks in the lake itself. We go over to the lake, the edge of the water, and there's nothing going through the water. There were no ripples, there were no splashes, just the noises of something hitting the water. We had no explanation for that either. Then we started hearing these loud cracking noises, like tree branches breaking or limbs breaking. Then some trees, little saplings, actually started falling over in front of us, like someone was making a path through the woods, but there was nobody there. And we're trying to come up with any kind of reason why, the sounds in the water and everything, like maybe it's a deer, like a splash, and all of a sudden this big buck comes out of the woods, walks over to the river, to the lake's edge, and starts pouring with his front feet into the water, which was bizarre because we were not that far from him, and deer usually run the opposite way. And the deer looked over at us and turned around and went back into the woods. And Mark and I look at each other and say, well, that wasn't the sound that we heard. Then suddenly the sky illuminated. There were like 3 sets of diamond-shaped lights. And it lit up the area like a football field.
Wow.
And then the noises started up again, like all around us. Really terrifying, because there was no explanation that we could think of for all these happenings that were going on. Mark and I said, well, it's dark, we can't see anything, but let's get back to the canoe and get out of here. So we were about 10 feet from the canoe. We could go no further. We couldn't get to the canoe. Like there was a force field keeping us from going any closer to get away.
Your muscles wouldn't move, allow you to move? Or?
No, we could move fine. It was just like almost like a glass wall that was blocking us. Like we couldn't see anything, but we couldn't go any further past a certain point. So then we were like, okay, what do we do now? So I got out a machete and Mark had a knife or an axe. Went back to back, and next thing we knew, it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. So, and everything, you couldn't see anything. There was nothing, no, evidence of anything that happened during the night. That was our first episode on Indian Lake of Strange Happenings. Just the lights.
No, with Di, I mean, like, didn't you?
That's when you and Jazzy were there. We were in the cabin. So, like, green, murky lights on the island that we had stayed on. and then it came completely across the lake to the bushes that were on the house next to the cabin we were staying at. That's like a mile across. That was very weird. Like little aliens running around. Yeah, that was really weird.
Wasn't there a time like when you were in the tent and you saw like some type of?
Oh yeah. Saw that one now?
Yeah.
1993. I think it was July 1993. Same lake, same island. So yeah, learned my lesson. We got there, I guess it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, setting up camp, put up the tent, got everything all, rolled out, food put away. I said, I'm going to do a little fishing. So I got in a little fishing boat, 12-footer, I guess it is. Had like a 10-horsepower Mercury motor on it. But it had oars also, so since I was fishing, I didn't have to go fast, so I could just roll around. And there's another island, it's called Rock Island, that's about 50 feet away. It's just a little bunch of rocks sticking out of the water, but they call it Rock Island. And I'm coming around Rock Island back towards Dougherty, which was the island that we were staying on. And also, one of my oars was cut clean across the oar, so all I had was the handle in my hand and maybe 3 feet past that. So my first thought was it was one of those laminated oars that pieced together and, the glue came apart or whatever. Anyway, when I found the other piece of the oar and looked at it, it was nothing but single grain oak. Like, how did it cut across? Anyway, I'm trying to figure that one out, and I come back onto the island and we start making dinner. I'm looking down like, wow, look in the water there. We went down to the water's edge, where there was like a little inlet in the island, and there was this greenish light that was blinking and going like in the points of a W. And it did that, on and on and on, like non-stop, very slowly, but it moved. So I look around, there's nothing reflecting, there's no boats on the lake over there, there's nothing up in the air. So that was mystery number 2. We go back up to the fire, and down at the Narrows, which is about 10 miles from where we are, where the lake comes down, there's a little dam, and it becomes Indian River. And I see like the same type of light up in the sky. And over the course of about 40 minutes, it was coming towards us up the lake, way up high, where it finally stopped over the lights that were in the water. And they went in tandem, like they were locked together and did exactly the same movements. Now, we had a radio CD player that had died because the batteries, batteries were used already, and then obviously no electricity on the island, so the radio had died. All of a sudden the radio starts squealing and getting like super, super loud, like the volume was on full blast. Even louder than that radio CD player could do on its own. And all these like frequency modulation changes were happening really loud. Then the mainland, which was about 100 yards to the north of us, lit up like a huge football field. The woman I was with said, "Is there a town there?" I'm like, "Hey, there's nothing there. So you can go like 200 miles up to Canada. It's the national, Adirondack Park. So there's no building allowed, no towns, no industry, nothing. Only houses on that are ones that were there before they designated it a park." So my friend said, "Let's get into the tent," because he was terrified. I'm like, "Well, tent's not going to do anything to me. It's a thin sheet of nylon." He goes, "I don't care, let's go in there." So we're in there and talking, and all of a sudden I see this shadow outside the tent that was moving around the tent, but not like somebody walking. It was almost like floating. And it had real long fingers. The head was it reminded me of a squirrel. And next thing we knew, it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Woke up. Now, when you're camping, you get up when the sun comes up usually, around that time, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I never sleep later than that when I'm camping. But it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And for the next 3 days, there were no other incidents as far as sounds and noises and lights and all that. Sightings. But every night we would pass out like at 10 o'clock and wake up at 2 o'clock the next afternoon. Finally on the 5th day we said, "We're out of here." And we went back to Long Island.
But didn't you stop and see Grandpa?
Oh, yeah, Grandma and Grandpa. Told my parents about what had happened. And my father was looking at my girlfriend's neck, and she had 2 red marks indented in her skin. Probably could explain a lot of things that are happening today. So, I don't know if we were brought aboard ship and used for experimentation or implantation or who knows. Might explain my daughter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they lasted for a while, too, in her neck, right?
6 years, I think.
6 years.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the island and see. It's still happening. It was scary with the noises and all that. Like, you're in the middle of a lake where there's no people.
Yeah.
Sudden screaming noises and everything.
Weren't the batteries dead, too, in that thing?
Yeah. Yeah, so I said the batteries had died.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get any sounds out of it. And it, came to life. So loud that it hurt your ears. And that radio couldn't get that loud on its own. Little portable CD player.
Yeah, like a boombox, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in Pennsylvania, you had and you were putting Katiana to sleep, right?
Yep.
And
there were always lights around remember the tree we called the mystery tree?
yeah, in the
backyard. Yeah. The one tree in the center. All these lights started dancing around now. Looked like little fairies. Then we heard like a heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. Got louder and louder and louder. So looking out the window, and all of a sudden, owl stops in front of the window and then starts flying backwards. White owl, huge, disappeared.
it was flying backwards?
Yep.
Like it flew to the window and then literally...
And the only bird that can fly backwards is a hummingbird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very weird. And then we come downstairs, and we hear this, like, scraping noise on the... We had a little front porch with an overhang. We had 2 chairs on there. We used to sit and, talk or whatever. And 2 chairs were in front of the door, which wouldn't make any sense because that's where we went in and out. We opened up the door to investigate further. And on the other side, there was a road that was about a half acre in front of the front door, where the road went. And I saw ghostly images of Native Americans. 3 of them on horseback, and the rest of them were women, children, and a couple of, I guess, warriors that were walking. They looked really sad. And as they went by, they turned and looked at me. And then it disappeared.
Yeah, that was in the front yard, right? Going in that street right there?
Yeah. Yeah, bittersweet.
And when was that?
For a year?
Yeah, you remember?
1999.
99, yeah. So it looked, was it, like it looked like real people, like walking? Like just like if real people were walking there? Or did it look like ghostly images?
Yeah, I could see through them.
You see through them?
And you could sort of like see colors of the clothing, but it was like real faded, almost like a watercolor. Weird. But I mean, I saw the details, like what they were wearing.
Is that pretty much the last type of thing you saw like that?
Yeah. Yep. Besides Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene. Everything else has just been on your property now. You just see the crafts, right?
For that mothership that time.
Yeah, you said it was flying right above your house, right?
Yep.
I remember you called me.
Yeah, that was like weird. So a lot of detail on that, but the thing was so low.
Yeah, it was like what, like 50 feet up or something?
Yeah, about that. Which is nothing for. I mean, and the thing was like 50 feet long, so it was bigger than my house, that's for sure. At least 50 feet.
How long did it stay there?
Oh, it was moving the whole time, but it was going like really slow, like, and for something in the air that's like almost impossible without falling down,
Right. Well, with the technology you know about, we know about.
Right, but I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't that hard technology.
Right. Well,
and the belly of the ship was like, looked like an oil hits water and get that iridescence and the lines. That's what it looked like on the belly. It looked like it was alive.
Oh, so the ship itself, just on the belly, or was it the entire ship?
See, because it was underneath. I was underneath it.
Oh, okay. So that part looked. Yeah, okay. So it looked good, like see through. But nothing happened. I just like flew over and.
Yeah. There were rotating green lights underneath it also, around the belly.
How long did you stay there?
Well, I went out. I was making a fire in the chimney, and I look over to my left, which is south of the house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's Mars. And like 10 minutes later, I'm like, dude, Mars is that's south, east of there. So how could it, that be Mars? And I look, and there was Mars, and that sort of big, bright orange. I thought it was a planet, right in between, like where the power lines are, but up real high.
Mm-hmm.
And And then I saw a jet going along the horizon to the west. And all of a sudden it makes a 90-degree turn, going right towards this object. I just thought it was a star at the time, you know. I didn't know. All of a sudden the star starts moving. And lights came out of it, and like the orange disappeared. It was almost like it was a chameleon, like camouflage. And then it started moving towards me, like real slow. And the jet went past it and started circling around. The thing went to my tree line, which is 100 yards past the house, to the north of the house. And then it just like disappeared. It moved so fast, it just like was gone. Second.
Now, was that the same orange light? Like, I remember when I was there with you and we saw that orange.
Yeah, it was like that, only it was bigger.
It was closer, or just because it was bigger?
Probably because it was closer. Yeah.
The one we saw kept going like left a little bit, circling left, and then it would go circling right a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty big too. That was like looked like a tangerine or something in the sky.
Right.
It was like,
yeah. It was
bigger than any bigger than any planet or. Huh?
The sky was alive that night, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, with the lights, right?
Yeah.
What we count, like 25 times we saw something shoot out?
Yep.
At least. Did we only see white lights that time? I only saw white. I think I remember that night.
I saw one tonight that was real high up, wasn't blinking, it was white, and it was flying like a drunk pilot, or some way I can describe it. Changing direction, like complete, and then following a path that wouldn't make any sense for an airplane.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with it. It's they move way too fast, and the light that I see the most, they only last maybe 4 seconds, right? And you saw that that time. I think I was facing you, and you saw it behind me, right?
Yep. And I saw it one time on my own, above the garage. Three lights shoot up.
And even I think the last time I saw one was with you in was it September? When I was at your house.
Yeah.
And I was telling you I was going to go to Canada.
Yeah.
And then quickly see it just shoot above your tree line.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. They're about as high as like the tree or a roof. Like they're not very high. And sometimes they'll be like maybe like 100 feet up. I think.
That was weird when I saw it when you were here.
Which one?
The three, 4 lights, whatever it was, that went up.
Yeah.
Up in the garage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Probably been a few times now. That's the last time I haven't seen it by me at all lately. I used to see him at least once a month or something.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot slower with like activity.
Yeah.
I think I only saw something once during the whole winter this year.
Where you live, I mean, it's a lot easier to see things, because you don't have any other people around you, so you got like...
Plus no lights to distract or dilute.
Yeah. Right. That's why it's strange by me, I think, because there's people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see that, I'm like, does anyone else see it, So sometimes I think I see it like when maybe no one else is looking up.
And, I had a neighbor that saw that spaceship, too. He's an amateur astronomer. He has his telescope out. And he followed it. He said right past the house.
You talking about the 50-foot one or whatever? That one?
Yeah. I have a neighbor that saw it. He just asked me about it not too long ago, actually. I've seen anything else. He can see my house from his place, even though he's like 3 miles away.
Yeah, 'cause you're up that hill. Right?
Yep. And with a telescope, you can see like really easily.
You're pretty much at the highest part, right? About.
Yeah, it's the highest point around. Yep.
Yeah, that's.
So, I'm not crazy. He saw it too through a telescope.
Too bad he didn't have like some type of
video on it.
Yeah, that would have been.
I know.
Wow, so that must have been quite sight.
Yeah.
But nothing changes in your house like on that time, like no lights went down or like nothing electric was altered.
The other thing, and it's weird too because you think with technology like that you wouldn't hear anything, but I heard as it's going over.
Yeah, my theory is basically that like with you is that like they must have been watching you from very very small age because and just check up every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
Because you've been seeing that for a long time. You see more actual from beings to ships. I'll just see the lights. I don't know what like fireball lights, whatever, shooting across like bottle rockets. It's as much as I see. But.
Yeah, and Mark was there at the time. I mean, that it wasn't like my perception of it. He saw the same stuff. We've talked about it over the years.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I always knew it was real, but I never knew how real it was till someone else that I was with saw it.
Yeah.
So it's been, including you, about 3 people have seen it.
Yeah.
You remember my friend? I was with him. I saw right shoot above his house, and then he thought it was what he said. He said it was shooting straight down for about 4 seconds, like an orange fireball shooting down. Lasted about 4 seconds, maybe about like 100 feet up. And he thought it was burning garbage that planes. He said, oh, that wasn't a light. That was just some burning garbage that planes throw over over the suburbs of New York, like they would do that.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to piece together like rationalize, and I think from back in the day they would talk about planes would dump waste over the ocean.
Yeah.
I think that's where maybe that came from. But
have you seen the new chemtrails? How they're doing it now?
What's new? What's
two trails at the same time, and they come out thick, and then they get thin. And then they expand.
So it's different ones than what you were seeing before?
Oh yeah, these are two white lines at the same time.
That's being two, like it'll come out of 2 different spouts, but it goes into form one line. Yeah,
no, these are 2 separate ones, right? Like with a space in between.
Oh, wow, so okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the jets look different too. They're more like stealth jets.
Yeah, that's.
You know how I noticed it at first? I was flying back from Indiana, and there was one right outside my window for like probably 50 miles in the air. It was right along. I had it I could see it so clearly, flying parallel with us for a while.
And it wasn't disappearing, right?
No, because we were up there with it.
Yeah.
It veered off, and as long as I could see it, the trail was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely have changed now. I guess they have to do, set up half as many jets now.
Yeah.
So they can get twice as much.
More bang for their buck.
Yep.